Hi, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Today I'm going to talk a little bit on the stop arc switch that this kind of mistake right here, this kind of mistake right here. When these happen, I was on the ball and already rolling the brain there and coming up with some kind of safety for that kind of accident. And I put together my thinking and I've actually created that arc stop switch, and while I'm at it, and I got my pop away torch taken off the machine, I'm giving you a close-up look at it, and you've got all the dimensions right there on your machine and all the information there. I'm just going to go through and show you the individual pieces, and if you feel like or you can make up one, desire to make up one, I'm going to give you some information so that it's not hard. You can figure out your dimensions that you need, your style of torch, the shapes you're going to need, things like that. So let's get on with it. Okay, we're waiting for a new motor here, so it was a good time to go ahead and break away the pop away torch and go ahead and add in the next improvement that I designed into this, and we're putting a stop arc switch into the back plate here, and we milled out a little pocket here, and our switch is right here. Now this is, we broke one of the tangs off. It was either normally open or normally closed, and we're using it in a normally open position, and that sits right down in there nice and tight, and the little switch just sticks out the front there, about 40 thousandths. Very short distance working switch. Alright, and we took an electric terminal connector here with the number 8 eye on it, and we bent it into shape, and that's all we're going to use to hold this. This is basically how I went about coming up with everything. You got all the dimensions that you need to make your pop away right within your own system here. Okay, this flat plate that actually sets in there, I've milled out some clearance so that it actually gives nice clearance all the way around the actuator shaft for the Z-axis. Okay, this width is the same as this width right here. Now this hole pattern is the larger hole pattern that they put in here for clearance to get to your adjusting screws in this original head design. Okay, I'm getting ready to put this in here right now, but basically this 1/2 inch is the same as this 1/2 inch, the claw itself that's holding the torch head, and that is center line. I just took center from the center of the slots there. Alright, so those are your dimensions that you have right with you to make this part. So I don't need to give you dimensions for this. All I need to show you is basically you got clearance for your shaft, you got the width. I got a little clearance here because when your torch is sitting in there and you're taking a hit from this direction, you need a little bit of motion in there, so you got to have a little bit of moving room. So that's the only reason why I gave that little cutout. I've had several hits where it tumbles and the contact does not hit the metal and doesn't shut it down, so your torch is still firing, and when your torch goes across the finished part, it cuts it. It cuts it just like you're purposely cutting it, only it's on accident and it's not in the place you want. So that's what's caused me to give this a try. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'm going to get this in here now, and we just need one. This is just a loop, so you don't need to get crazy and have a direction on either way. Just a closed loop. Okay, and we do Now these blocks on the sides here are just the 2-hole pattern to hold this in, and then coming down, and I picked a matching hole that I wanted to come through and make contact on the side of the head here. Okay, these screw in and out freely because they're tapped into these aluminum blocks. Alright, so you can set, you can adjust that's the beauty of this too. You can get that little bit of adjustment just the same as that side to side that plasma cam gives you with this bracket. Okay, we're just going to adjust in our spring tension now so that we got the torch held in here right, and we are making contact with that, and we just want to make sure both of these are equal. And we lock them into place with just a nut on the outside. These are 1 inch long. Alright, nice and secure. Pops away. Okay, we're doing an operational test. Now this is Plasma Cam's jumper, so I don't have to have this hooked up to the controller to check out the function of my theory here and the stop arc trigger that we're going to put in here. I've got this. No action. Hold in the switch. Got it. Okay. Head's mounted in here. Alright, we're not caring about our consumables right now because we're in a test mode, and if the test works, it's well worth a couple bucks for a contact tip or electrode or whatever. I'm going to go all the way so I have an arc out of here, and then we're going to see how fast the arc stops when it's knocked out. Alright, that's what I'm looking for. You know, I was wondering if there was going to be a delay or whatever. I'm pleased with that. I think this is well worth the investment of a $7 switch and a $13 piece of SO cable and a couple connectors and a through-hole fitting for my box there, and just a little bit of good thinking. Alright, you pretty much know that this is just a square plate and it's set in there, and these spring ball plungers, you can get those. Let's see, I got one here. You can get these at MSC, Manhattan Supply Company. One key thing that's making this work, and is this flat surface and that flat surface got to be held together, but you can't put this contact exactly. You have to have a little bit of preload, so you're going to want to offset these so that they're tending to push this in. Alright, you get that figured out, you'll know exactly where to put that bore through. Another thing, these are ball buttons, and they'll have them at MSC as well. These ball buttons are very tiny. There's no way that they would last by just boring into this aluminum here, because they are very short and aluminum soft. They eventually would rock and wear, and I kind of knew that off the top of my head. I actually made a solid stainless steel rod, nice precision diameter, drilled and reamed this straight on through, and I bored and set those ball buttons press fit into each end of that stainless steel shaft. So that isn't just set into the aluminum there. I actually made it so you have solid stainless steel between those two pieces right there, and it's held. That's why it's not failing. It's staying nice and rigid. It's doing the job. Been happy. All right. The first thing I started with was looking at the torch, and you need this barrel straight in line with your holder. And I'm looking at this diameter is nice and round. And you take your micrometers and you actually, or veneers. I don't think you have to get it any more technical than a throwaway pair of veneers, okay? And I created a aluminum tube like this with the right bore. Now on this particular torch here, it has an Allen right here, and that Allen screw actually sits out there. While I had it in the lathe, I went ahead and took a tool bit on a boring bar and set it sideways, and I went back and forth until I actually broached a straight V groove right in there, exactly in the same position that I wanted in relationship to that. Then I knew that I would be able to slip, and that would clear. Alright, after you have your round circle, you know that this this width right here, it's got to be removed, because your torch has got to go up into that housing there. Alright, so I milled out the sides so I had that width, and I had planned for this face against this face here, so I kind of knew where that was, and I went ahead and milled a 1/4 inch deep landing for this aluminum plate to be positioned in relationship to the tube. Then I tacked it. Once this was tacked, then I was able to go ahead and put this right in there before all of this was added on, and just that round bore was actually holding the torch exactly right. Now you could take and you could swing this side to side. That's basically all this does right. This is pretty well held in by that bore. I got that bore that close. Alright, this is all cosmetic, kind of just keeping it from going side to side. As far as these pieces here, I held up a piece of aluminum on the side of the torch like this, with this squared off the head like this. I drew it, cut it, and welded it. That was it. Alright, I brought the SO cable in here and grabbed its 2 leads and dubbed it in between the trigger wire from the plasma torch and the wire going to the controller on the plasma cam. And that's as simple as it is inside. We're going to go ahead and button it up now. Okay, here's the standard jumper that plugs in. This goes into your controller, and then this is the jumper in case you're going to go into the manual mode. Alright, now on mine I could actually just pull the torch out of the holder, leave the holder in there if I'm going to stay by the table and use it that way. If I'm going to drag the plasma cutter somewhere else, I need to be able to break away my stop arc switch, and I've created just a 2-prong jumper that just sits on the end of the cable just like that. I'm going to put it in operation. There we go.